Among the legendary weapons of Tyria, there are few who represent light and hope as much as Xiuquatl, the Serpent of Life. Today we will join the Highlights of Sparkfly Fen to explore the lore of this beacon of light. So hello and welcome to my channel. Here we'll learn the lore and stories of the world of Tyria, and as always you can find the full lore and guide on how to craft it on the official Gearus 2 wiki. Let's begin. A light in the swamp. Deep within the wetlands of Tyria, where rivers wind through thick forests and mist hangs over the water long after sunrise, countless Hylek tribes have made their homes for generations. They are an ancient people, living close to the land, surviving through skill, tradition and respect for the world around them. Every tribe has its own customs, its own poisons, and its own stories. But they all understand one simple truth: life is never guaranteed. Every day is a struggle against predators, rival tribes, disease, and the dangers of the wild. The official lore that we know of states: Hylek of the Astro-Sintli Forelands revere the life serpent Xiuquatl. While it's too small and gentle to be their savior, those traits make it Tequatl's perfect opposite, and a potent symbol of hope. The Hylek do not build great kingdoms like humans or vast cities like the Asura. Instead, they live in independent tribes led by chieftains, guided by wise elders and priests who watch the skies and interpret the will of the sun. To most Hylek, the sun is far more than a light in the heavens. It is a source of life, bringing warmth, food, and new growth, but it can also bring drought, hunger, and death. Their priests study its movements carefully because understanding nature is often the difference between survival and extinction. Among these many tribes lives one whose beliefs stand apart from the others. In the Astro-Sintli Forelands, the Hylek place their faith not in a mighty warrior or a terrifying beast, but in a gentle winged serpent known as Xiuquatl. Unlike the monsters that roam Tyria, Xiuquatl is not feared. It is not worshipped because it can destroy armies or drive away enemies. In fact, the Hylek know that it cannot save them through strength alone. It is too small, too peaceful, and too gentle to become the mighty guardian that desperate people often dream of. Yet that is exactly why it has become sacred. To the Astro-Sintli Hylek, Xiuquatl reminds them that true hope is not measured by power. Sometimes the greatest strength is simply refusing to surrender to despair. The shadow called Tequatl. The reason this belief became so important lies only a short distance away. Across the marshes of Sparkfly Fen, another serpent-like creature has earned a very different reputation. Its name is spoken with fear across Tyria: Tequatl, the Sunless. One of the greatest champions of the elder dragon Titan, Tequatl is a colossal undead dragon that rises from the seas surrounded by corruption and the armies of the Risen. Wherever it appears, death follows. Shorelines become battlefields, clean water becomes poisoned, and the living are forced to fight simply to survive. For generations, the Hylek living near Sparkfly Fen have endured Tequatl's attacks. Entire tribes have watched corruption spread across their hunting grounds while undead creatures marched through lands that had once been filled with life. Even after countless battles, Tequatl always seemed to return, an endless reminder of the darkness that Titan brought into the world. It would have been easy for the Hylek to answer that darkness by worshipping something equally terrifying. Instead, they chose the opposite. The official legends tells us that Xiuquatl is Tequatl's perfect opposite. Not because it's stronger, but because it represents everything Tequatl does not. Where Tequatl spreads death, Xiuquatl represents life. Where Tequatl brings fear, Xiuquatl inspires hope. One exists to corrupt the world, while the other reminds people that even the smallest light can survive in the deepest darkness. This is what makes Xiuquatl so unique among Tyria's legends. It is not remembered for winning great battles or defeating mighty enemies. It is remembered because it gives people a reason to keep fighting even when victory seems impossible. The Legendary Serpent. This belief eventually found its way into one of Tyria's legendary weapons. The legendary scepter Xiuquatl is more than a beautifully crafted artifact. It is a tribute to the gentle serpent itself. When the weapon is drawn, a glowing winged serpent appears beside its wielder, faithfully following them through every battle. Green light surrounds the bearer, while the serpent circles nearby as a constant companion rather than a weapon of destruction. When the scepter is put away, the familiar quietly returns to its resting place within the carved stone of the weapon, waiting patiently until it is called again. The weapon's appearance perfectly reflects the Hylek belief behind it. Its power is not shown through fire or overwhelming force, instead it radiates life, calm and quiet determination. Even its footsteps leave gentle pools of green mist behind, as though the land itself is being touched by living magic instead of corruption. This makes Xiuquatl one of the few legendary weapons whose meaning comes almost entirely from symbolism rather than historical events. ArenaNet never tells us that the serpent fought Tequatl, nor that it performed miraculous feats. The story is simpler than that. The serpent became legendary because of what it represents. How to craft this legendary weapon? To craft this legendary Hylek artifact, you will need these 4 things. Tequatl, the precursor weapon, the gift of Xiuquatl, mystic tribute, the gift of Maguma mastery, or the gift of desert mastery. After these things have been combined in a mystic forge, Xiuquatl will be bestowed upon you. Hope never dies. The story of Xiuquatl is ultimately not about a magical creature. It is about the people who chose to believe in it. The Hylek has survived countless hardships throughout Tyria's history. They have faced invading Crate, rival tribes, natural disasters, the corruption of ore, and the endless armies of Saitan. Many tribes have been driven from their homes, while others have disappeared entirely. Yet they continue to endure because survival has always been at the heart of Hylek culture. For the Astrosintli Hylek, Xiuquatl embodies that spirit. It teaches that courage does not always roar like a dragon. Sometimes courage is quiet. Sometimes it's gentle. Sometimes it's simply waking up each day, protecting those you love, and refusing to let fear decide your future. That is why the Life Serpent remains Tequatl's perfect opposite. One is a towering monster born from corruption and death. The other is a small, peaceful creature that offers no promise of victory, only the strength to keep believing. And perhaps that is why the Hylek still tell its story. Because in a world filled with elder dragons, ancient evils and endless wars, hope itself can become something legendary. This has been the story and lore of the legendary scepter Xiuquatl. I hope you enjoyed this video. Prior to doing research for this video, I actually didn't know how deep the connection of this weapon was to the Hylek. I love it when the weapons connect so well to the lore. With that said, thank you for watching this video. Please like and comment something you thought was interesting or something that I missed. Also subscribe to not miss future lore content in this format. Now take care, and I will see you in the next story. Goodbye.